from Anshe Sfard Bethel Emeth Congregation. It's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Parshat Pinchas, Every Man. We have this parsha called Pinchas, more accurately Pinchas. Who is this Pinchas? Why is he important? Why is there a parsha named for him? Why was this episode significant? There are other webcasts we've shared why we think this story is very crucial in this entire book of Bamidbar. But here I'd like to just focus on the meaning of Pinchas as Pinchas. The idea that this is a central moment in Tanakh is found in Psalm 106, where there it says that Vayamod Pinchas Vayifalel, that Pinchas stood. The episode of Pinchas is recast as one of the key moments in all of Torah history. If you have to recap all of Jewish history, there's the Exodus, there's getting the Torah, so there's splitting the sea, and there is Pinchas. The moment of the act of Pinchas is an important moment. Why? If we look in Sefer Bamidbar, we notice that the leaders of Israel are always getting into trouble. Whether it's the leaders who were the spies, whether it's the leaders who joined with Korach, the leaders of Israel are getting into trouble. But the original vision was that Moshe would not lead the Jews by himself, but that Moshe, itchem yu ish lamateh, there would be one person from each tribe who would join Moshe, and Aaron would be with him, and Elazar would be with him. And the problem was, as Moshe put it, lo uchal anochi levadi. The problem of Book of Bamidbar is, he says, I can't do it on my own. I can't do this Jewish leadership thing on my own. It can't be done. And it wasn't supposed to be done. V'itchem yu, in the very first verses of the book, it says that there are supposed to be others helping him out. Pinchas. Pinchas is an exemplar of that exact point. That indeed, there are other Jews. There is a mass of Jews who are ready and willing to roll up their sleeves and to do something. That's Pinchas. The Sfat Emet puts it like this: Haya tzarich liyot al yedei ish pashut toch klal Yisrael. This miracle, this act of Pinchas, act of zealotry against the sinners at the time, had to have been done not by Moshe, not by Aaron. We don't blame Moshe and Aaron for not doing it. This had to have been done by someone who is a Pashta Yid, a simple, plain Jew. And Pinchas was as plain as they get. So you'll say, no. Pinchas is part of the meritocracy. Pinchas is part of the hierarchy. Pinchas is part of the leadership clan. After all, he's a grandson of Aaron. He's the son of Elazar. The rabbis say no. It's true that Elazar was appointed to be a Kohen, but Pinchas was not. Until this moment, Pinchas was somehow left out of the shuffle. He was too little when the other Kohanim were dedicated. From then on, the children of those Kohanim would become Kohanim, and Pinchas was left out. He was not going to be a Kohen at all. His yichus, his lineage, true from his father, is Elazar, but from his mother's side, the rabbis say, Rashi tells us, that it was from the tribes Benot Putiel. He was from his wife was from the daughters of Jethro. And while before the Torah was given, it was okay for Moshe to go off and marry Jethro's daughter. But here, Pinchas is the son of Elazar and the daughter of one of the daughters of Jethro, and she was involved in idolatry. In some ways, he's like a convert. In some ways, he's like a Baal Tshuva, a repentant Jew, or at least his mother was. And in that sense, he's not someone special. He's every man. The notion that it's important for someone from among you to take the leadership is found in the very notion of kingship. Mikerav achacha, You know where the leadership comes from? From among your brethren. Who were the leaders? After all, Saul, who was he? Miktanei Shivtei Yisrael, from the smallest of the tribes. Who was David? He was watching the sheep while the other brothers were more prominent. Who was Yiftach? He was that other brother that they cast away. Leadership needs to come from the masses, from the everyman, or there is no leadership at all. You might say in general that kihuna, the idea of priesthood, is purely based on lineage. It's based on who you are, not what you are. But we know that it's not completely true. When Chofni and Pinchas, the sons of Eli, misbehaved, they were removed from their position. In the book of Yechezkel, it says that there are certain families of Kohanim which did not do right, and other families will take their place. Pinchas is an exemplar of the notion that earned kihuna. You heard of earned credit? This is earned kihuna. He earns being a Kohen. He does an action which brings him, catapults him into a position of leadership. And indeed, in the remainder of this book, he comes up not only as this great hero of this particular episode, but as one of the leaders of the Jewish people. We sometimes feel like, well, who am I? I'm just a citizen. There's presidents, there are vice presidents, there are congressmen, senators. I'm just a plain person. I don't know how it works in America. When it comes to the Jewish people, there's no plain person. He's aruv aniyim kim shemehem teitzei Torah. The Gemara says, watch out for the children of the poor people, because the Torah could come from them. It will come from them. From the plain folk, that's where all the greatness will eventually come. And ultimately, when Pinchas acts, says the Sfat Emet, he did it b'shem kol Yisrael. He did it in the name of all the Jews. The rabbis say, the Kabbalists say that when you act as a Jew, you should always do it in the name of all of Israel. I'm not doing it as myself. I'm not trying to prop myself up as the chief Jew. Rather, I do everything in the name of all of Israel, because I'm just one of the crowd. I'm just one of everybody. But it's those who understand that everybody can be a somebody that eventually leads the everyman to become a somebody. But the message remains that every man can be a somebody. This is the message of Pinchas. This is a message for each one of us. There's no the great Pinchas. No. Pinchas is you. Pinchas is me. Someone who can rise to the occasion. Makom she'en ish. When there is no man, hishtadel liot ish, to be a man. And he did it. He did something special. Each one of us can, in our own way, in our families, communities, in our synagogues, for the Jewish people, in the land of Israel, in the state of Israel, we can be Pinchas. We can be Joe's citizen. And by doing that, we can reach great heights. And indeed, from being every man, we can become truly a somebody. Thank you for joining us here at the Anshe Sfard Beth Elameth congregation here in Memphis, Tennessee, for a discussion of Parshat Pinchas. Join us each week for the discussion of the Parshiot, holidays, other aspects of Judaism. And thanks to our producer, Jason Lefkowitz. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit ASBEE.org.